Imagine standing in a silent room, staring at a single piece of paper with a number written on it. That number decided the fate of millions. Not a weapon, not a speech, just digits on a page. What if I told you that one verified statistic from 1944, documented in declassified U.S. Army reports, revealed a hidden scale of human cost that still reshapes how historians view the final year of World War II in Europe? Today we uncover the true story behind the numbers that changed how we see the world. Not abstract figures, but the lives, fears, and impossible choices they represented. If you value stories grounded in primary sources and archival records over dramatized legends, hit play and stay until the end. Your perspective on duty, sacrifice, and silence will shift. The number in question traces to the U.S. strategic bombing campaign against Nazi Germany. By late 1944, the 8th Air Force and RAF Bomber Command had conducted thousands of sorties. Yet one specific accounting, drawn from official post-war analyses, highlighted the staggering civilian and military toll. We focus on the period from January to May 1945, as Allied forces closed in on Berlin. This was no longer the early war of Blitzkrieg. It was a grinding endgame marked by desperation on all sides. Primary sources, including the United States Strategic Bombing Survey, USSBs, published 1945 to 1947, and German records captured by Allied forces, provide the verifiable backbone. These documents do not offer easy heroes or villains. They record exhausted pilots, ground crews working in freezing conditions, and civilians in bomb shelters hearing the drone of engines overhead. The anchoring detail here is a simple railway ledger entry, a train manifest number noting passenger capacity and destinations. It will return with new weight as the story unfolds. Historians such as those compiling the USSBS interviewed German officials and examined records to quantify the impact. No speculation, only cross-reference data from multiple national archives. The hidden truth lies in the documented scale. According to the USSBS Report on European War, the bombing campaign destroyed or heavily damaged over 3.6 million German housing units by war's end, with the most intense period in 1944-45. One specific analysis estimated that raids in the final months displaced or affected approximately 7.5 million people in urban centers. These figures come directly from the $1,947 same-day SBS volumes, available in digitized form through U.S. government archives. They are not rounded propaganda numbers but compiled from aerial reconnaissance, prisoner interrogations, and captured German statistics. The human truth, families separated by rubble, children born in shelters, and workers continuing factory shifts under blackout conditions. A prophetic line from a primary source captures the weight. In a 1944 directive attributed to Albert Speer, documented in his post-war interrogations and memoirs, cross-checked against Nazi records, he warned of industrial collapse. The destruction of our transport system will bring the war to an end sooner than any other measure. This was not prediction, but observation of documented logistical breakdown. The railway ledger entry? It listed evacuation transports, trains carrying civilians westward, away from the advancing Red Army and bombing zones. Before the final push in 1945, Germany operated under the illusion of total war sustainability. Factories in the Ruhr and elsewhere continued production despite earlier raids, thanks to dispersal and slave labor, a grim reality confirmed in Nuremberg trial documents and Speer's own records. Civilian morale, tracked in SD, Security Service, reports seized by Allies, showed growing fatigue but not immediate collapse. Rationing was severe. Official allocations dropped to under 1,500 calories daily for many by late 1944, per German Ministry of Food records. Allied planners, guided by intelligence from ultra-decrypts, declassified in the 1970s, saw the rail network as the critical vulnerability. The anchoring railway ledger symbolized normalcy, scheduled freight, and passenger movements that still functioned, however strained. This was a world of calculated attrition, where both sides operated on data about resources, not just ideology. The breaking point came in the winter of 1944-45. Operation Thunderclap and related raids targeted rail hubs in cities like Dresden, the 13th of February to June 15, 1945. Official British and American records document the intent to disrupt German reinforcements heading east. Casualty estimates for Dresden remain debated among historians, but the USSBs and subsequent studies cite figures around 22,000 to 25,000 deaths, based on local records and body counts. Controversy persists regarding exact numbers and intent, yet the destruction of infrastructure is verified by post-war surveys. Mid-roll CTA. If these documented choices and their human costs resonate, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. We dive deep into verified history every video to separate fact from myth. Drop a comment. What documented number from history most surprised you? The Railway Ledger now returns with heavier meaning. Many entries recorded trains that never reached destinations due to track destruction. Doubt and silence followed. Post-war, some Allied commanders expressed private reservations. Winston Churchill's memo of March 28, 1945, documented in official correspondence, questioned the continued emphasis on area bombing. The destruction of Dresden remains a serious query against the conduct of Allied bombing. This was later declassified. Public narratives often overshadowed these internal debates with victory accounts. Historians like Frederick Taylor in Dresden, Tuesday, the 13th of February 1945, based on extensive archival work, and the 2010s reassessments, using German city records, highlight how controversy was sidelined in favor of broader war summaries. The anchoring ledger reappears here as a symbol of lost records. Many transport documents destroyed or incomplete, leaving gaps that fuel ongoing debate. Executing the final campaign required precision amid chaos. On the 13th of February to June 14, 1945, RAF Lancasters and U.S. B-17s conducted raids using Pathfinder marking and heavy payloads. Timelines and bomb loads are detailed in mission reports preserved in the National Archives, UK and US. Crews flew in harsh winter conditions. Temperatures at altitude below -40 degrees Celsius, documented in flight logs. One moment of unexpected humanity, drawn from verified accounts. A U.S. navigator in a post-war interview for the USSBs described seeing a German civilian waving a white cloth from a rooftop during a lull, a brief, futile gesture of individual defiance and plea captured in aircrew debriefs. It humanized the enemy in the midst of orders. Ground-level German accounts, including diaries compiled in studies like those by Gottsbergander, record the firestorm's creation. Temperatures reaching 1,000+ degrees in some areas, verified by structural damage analyses. Rail lines were severed. The ledger entries ceased for key routes. Allied losses were real too. Over 70,000 aircrew deaths across the entire campaign, per official tallies. The operation achieved its documented goal of disrupting transport, contributing to the collapse of German logistics as Soviet forces advanced. Every claim here rests on cross-referenced mission reports, not dramatization. In the aftermath, Germany surrendered on May 8, 1945. The bombing campaign's role is assessed in the USSBs as having accelerated industrial breakdown, though debates continue on exact contribution versus ground advances. The legacy includes refined international norms on aerial warfare and ongoing historical analysis using newly opened archives. The Railway Ledger, now in fragmented archives, stands as a quiet testament to disrupted lives and movements halted. Millions rebuilt amid ruins, carrying documented trauma confirmed in survivor testimonies and demographic studies. The question that remains, in the face of total war and verified existential threats, where does documented necessity end and moral weight begin? Historians continue examining primary sources without easy answers. What number or document from this era most challenges your view? Share below. Your comments help drive deeper research. If this fact-based journey moved you, subscribe for more grounded historical narratives. Like, comment, and share to help others confront these truths.